Forget gas water heaters. This $40 pile of wood chips pumps out 60 Celsius hot water for 18 months straight. No electricity, no gas, no solar panels. Why aren't we using it everywhere? A French farmer figured this out in 1974, and the heating industry has buried it ever since. Look at this pile, steam rising in the cold morning air. A thermometer buried inside reads 61 Celsius. That is hotter than the water coming out of your shower, and this pile has been running for months, day and night for over a year. No wires, no pipes from the street, no bill at month end. Just branches, leaves, water, and time. How can a heap of wood chips replace a $5,000 boiler? Stay with me. By the end of this video, you will know exactly how to build one yourself, right in your own backyard, and you will understand why almost nobody in the industry talks about this. Let us start with the problem, your heating bill. It is going up every single year without fail. In the last decade, the average household energy bill has nearly doubled. Gas prices swing, electricity climbs quietly. The appliance quietly eating the biggest share of that money is your water heater, hiding right in your basement. Hot water alone accounts for around 18% of total home energy, almost 1/5 of everything you pay, just to make water warm. And here is the truly cruel part. Your water heater is designed to fail. The average tank lasts 8 to 10 years. Then the bottom rusts, the heating element burns out completely, and you are looking at another $1,500 for a replacement. The industry calls this a product cycle. I call it a treadmill. You are renting hot water from a company that never stops billing you, completely dependent on a grid you did not build and a fuel you did not choose. Why accept this? They sell you the problem and they sell you the solution. Forever. That is the modern energy trap. Now imagine cutting that wire. Imagine 60-degree water flowing through your taps with no meter spinning anywhere. Sounds impossible? It is not. A French farmer named Jean solved this in 1974, for free. He did it with nothing more than a pile of brush from his own forest in southern Provence. Jean was no scientist. He was a forest warden clearing brush daily to prevent dangerous wildfires. He noticed something everyone ignored. The cutting piles behind his cabin got warm. Not just warm, hot. Hot enough that snow would not stick to them in winter. Hot enough to steam visibly at dawn. So he built a bigger pile, then a bigger one. By 1974 he built giant mounds. 100 tons of shredded wood chips, each shaped like a giant beehive with garden hoses coiled inside. Cold water in one end, hot water out the other. That single pile heated his entire stone farmhouse. It ran his kitchen, gave him hot showers, and produced enough methane gas to fuel his pickup truck. For 18 months, without stopping, without refueling. One single heap of ordinary forest waste did all that. Think about it. 18 months of free heat, free hot water, free cooking fuel, free transportation, from wood chips. So why is your grandmother not doing this? Why isn't every homestead in the country running on this? Because in 1974, oil was cheap again, the energy crisis passed, the lobby quietly moved in, universities stopped publishing on biomass thermal extraction. Jean died in 1981, his method forgotten, filed under hippie nonsense. The heating industry doesn't want you to know about this brilliant chainsaw genius. A man with a chainsaw and brush pile beat them at their own game. But how does it work? How does rotting wood get hotter than a kettle? That is the part that breaks most people's brains. Here is the secret. Not fire, not lab-coat chemistry. It is bacteria, microorganisms called thermophilic that love heat. They generate heat. Give them the right meal and they go into a frenzy, releasing enormous thermal energy. Pile up fresh wood chips with right moisture and billions of bacteria wake up, breaking down cellulose and lignin. The process is aerobic, needing oxygen. As they digest cellulose, they release heat as a byproduct, warming the pile. The deeper you go, the more insulated bacteria are, and the higher the temperature climbs inside the mound's core. In the core, temperatures stabilize between 60 and 70 Celsius, just below boiling, hotter than your shower head. This is not theory, it is biology billions of years old. Farmers have used it quietly for centuries. Old stables in northern Europe were built over pits of manure and straw, warming horses through harsh winters. Mushroom growers in Asia have used controlled compost heat for over 1,000 years. We simply forgot. Now add one more piece, a coiled pipe. Take 60 meters of flexible plastic spiraled inside the pile. Cold water enters one end. As it snakes through the hot core, it absorbs heat through the pipe walls. By the time water exits, it sits at 55 to 60 Celsius. You feed it into an insulated tank. There it is, hot water, on demand, free, for the entire 18-month life of the compost pile. But there is one counterintuitive detail almost everyone gets wrong when they try to build this for themselves. People hear this and think more heat means smaller pile. They build a tiny mound, expect boiling, then disappointment. Wrong approach. Here is the rule. A bigger pile does not get hotter. A bigger pile stays hot longer. The temperature ceiling is fixed by biology. Around 65 Celsius, thermophilic bacteria die from their own heat. So the core never exceeds that, no matter how big you build. What size controls is duration, not intensity. A 4 cubic meter pile runs hot for 12 to 18 months. A 2 meter pile dies in 3. The next lie the industry repeats: compost dies in weeks. Backyard heaps cool down before they are useful. That is true for kitchen waste. Banana peels and coffee grounds break down fast and exhaust themselves quickly. But Jean Pain figured out that fresh remiel wood chips from young branches are slow-burning bacterial fuel. The lignin in wood takes months to digest. That is why his piles lasted a year and a half. Another mistake. People wrap the pile in plastic to trap heat. Disaster. The bacteria need to breathe freely. Seal the pile and they suffocate. The aerobic process collapses. The whole thing turns into a cold, smelly mess. The mound must stay open enough for air to enter at the base. Loose straw covering is all you need. And finally, moisture, the single most ignored variable. If chips are too dry, there is no bacterial activity. If they are too wet, oxygen is pushed out, the pile rots anaerobically, producing methane instead of heat. The sweet spot is around 60% moisture. Squeeze a handful, a few drops should come out. That is it. That is the entire secret the heating industry spent 50 years pretending does not exist. Now come the numbers, and they will break every utility comparison that has ever been honestly calculated. Run the math. A standard Jean Pain mound for hot water uses 4 cubic meters of wood chips, roughly the size of a small garden shed. Inside, you coil 60 meters of 1-inch flexible pipe. You connect that loop to a 60-liter insulated tank. From day 4 onward, every single day, water heats. From 12 degrees ambient up to 55 or 60 degrees output. Every day, without you doing anything. Thermally, the pile delivers around 4 kilowatts of continuous output. Continuous, not peak. That is steady draw, 24 hours a day. A typical electric heater pulls 4.5 kilowatts, only when running, maybe 2 hours a day. A backyard brush pile beats your wired heater for total daily thermal energy. How long does it run? 12 to 18 months, depending on climate, chip quality and pile size. Be conservative and call it 15 months on average. Now let us compare water heating costs honestly. The average American household spends around $1,800 per year on water heating, gas and electric. Some pay even more. A Jean Pain mound replaces that bill completely, forever. No more monthly heat. The build cost? Around $280 total in pipe, fittings and insulating straw. That is everything. If wood chips come from your own property or from a local arborist happy to dump them free, Your fuel cost is zero. $0. The system pays for itself in less than 4 months. Everything after that is pure savings. Time to actually build one yourself. Here is the simple blueprint. Step 1. Source your chips. You need 8 to 10 cubic meters of fresh green wood, not dried, not aged, fresh. The sugars and moisture in young wood are exactly what feed the heat-producing bacteria inside. Call any local arborist. They pay to dump chips at the landfill, so they'll deliver a truckload free. You want mixed hardwood and softwood with leaves and twigs. Avoid pure pine. Avoid anything sprayed with herbicide. Step 2. Lay out your pipe. Use 1-inch black polyethylene or PEX if you want longer service life. 60 meters is standard. Coil it into a flat spiral about 2 meters across, like a giant snail shell. Leave the inlet at the outer edge, low to the ground. Leave the outlet at the top, exiting upward. This matters. Water heats as it rises. Always feed cold from outside bottom. Draw hot from top center. Step 3. Build the pile. Start with a base layer of coarse chips 30 cm thick on cleared ground. Lay the spiral on top. Build up around and over it with chips 1 layer at a time. Every 50 cm of height, water with a hose until moist but not soaked. Remember the squeeze test. Finished pile should be 3 meters across at the base and 2 meters tall, shaped like a domed beehive. Then cover the entire mound with a 15 cm blanket of straw. It insulates without suffocating the pile. Step 4. Connect the pipes. Run cold inlet down to your water source, rainwater tank or well line. Run the hot outlet up to an insulated storage tank inside your shed or basement. This closes the loop. Use a small 12-volt pump powered by one solar panel or rely on thermosiphon. Hot water rises naturally. Insulate every meter of exposed pipe between pile and tank. Otherwise, you lose precious heat to the cold air. Now wait. By day 3, the pile core hits 40 degrees. By day 4, 55 to 60. You will see steam rising from the top in the morning. Touch the outside. It should feel warm. Stick a long compost thermometer into the core. You will read 60 plus. That is your free hot water. Maintenance? Almost nothing. Every 6 weeks, water the surface to top up moisture. That is it. No filters, no service contracts, no emergency calls at 2 in the morning. The industry doesn't want you to know this. Final bill comparison, and the number is almost insulting. Let's run the economics over one complete cycle. 18 months of operation. 60 liters of hot water per day flowing free from your simple compost pile. That comes to roughly 32,400 liters of hot water over the pile's full life cycle. Heating that volume from cold to 60 with electricity at average rates costs around $2,400. With natural gas, depending on region, somewhere between $1,500 and $2,000. We use electric as baseline. Your build cost: $280 in pipe, fittings, straw and a small pump. Wood chips were free. Your net saving over the cycle is $2,100 and change per pile. And here's the bonus. After 18 months, when bacterial activity finally winds down, you do not throw the pile away. You break it open. Inside, you find roughly 3 tons of premium black humus, the richest, finest compost you can imagine. Garden centers sell this stuff at $60 a cubic yard. You fertilize a 1/4 acre for 2 years. Or sell it to neighbors, adding another $500 to your savings. One pile, real money. $2,600 in value, $280 in cost. Then you build the next one. So why isn't every homestead doing this already? Because there is no meter on it. There is no subscription. You cannot sell quarterly earnings on wood chips a 60-year-old farmer builds in a weekend. The utility model collapses the moment people realize they can opt out for $280. Building codes in most cities quietly block these systems. Not by name. They don't say compost heaters are illegal. They require water heating systems be certified by approved manufacturers, hooked into permitted plumbing, connected to recognized fuel. Wood chips fit none of those categories. Not approved, not certified, not bannable. A legal gray zone exists. Most homeowners are too nervous to set one up out front. Out back, in the garden, you are free. Universities almost entirely stopped publishing on biomass thermal mounds after 1985. Look it up. Run the search yourself. The last serious peer-reviewed paper on Jean Pen-style systems came from a small French institute. Then, silence. Funding dried up. Researchers moved on to solar and wind, far more profitable for grid integration and subsidies. The simple, distributed off-grid solution was deliberately left to wither. The industry does not want you knowing this. But the method is alive. Small homesteaders in France, Spain, Vermont, Oregon, Tasmania run these piles right now. They share photos online. They post temperature readings. Some have been doing this for 10 years straight. They build a new mound every season. They pay nothing for hot water. They laugh at gas bills. And here is the next layer. The same pile, with one small modification, can also produce methane. Yes, cooking gas, free, out of the same heap that already heats your shower every single morning. You bury a separate sealed chamber inside the mound, feed it with wet kitchen scraps and grass clippings. The anaerobic digestion produces enough biogas to run a small kitchen stove for hours every single day. Jean Pen cooked his meals and drove his truck on this same gas for years on end. We will cover that build step by step in the next video. Free gas from the same heap. One last thing before you go build yours. Take only one thing from this video, take this. The most powerful technologies are not always the newest ones. Sometimes they are the oldest, simplest, forgotten. The ones that got buried because they were too cheap to monetize. Why are we not using them? A pile of wood chips, right shape, right moisture, 60 meters of pipe and patience. That is all. Walk away from one of the largest bills in your home. Forever. Subscribe for the biogas build next. You do not need permission, you do not need a degree, just a chainsaw, a hose and patience. The bacteria do the work. You just build conditions humans have used for thousands of years. Simple but powerful. If you found this useful, subscribe. Next video we pull free cooking gas straight out of this pile. Free methane from the same heap, same backyard, same 18 months. After that, greenhouses heated entirely by buried mounds. Grow tomatoes through winter with no fuel at all. Share this with anyone building a house off-grid, or anyone tired of paying too much for electricity. Check the pinned comment for the complete parts list, pipe specifications, recommended pump model, and a printable PDF blueprint of the full mound. All totally free, no email required. Free gas is closer than you think. Go build your pipe.